Started recording. Okay. See you guys. What we discussed last class. So how we need to create user-defined database server, right? How we need to create user-defined database server. Correct. And also in Postgres, there are two more terminologies. So whenever we are going to use database server, right? So we can also use another terminology like instance or cluster. Okay. These three terminologies we are going to use. We are going to, so database server or instance or cluster. Okay. So last class we created the database server, right? And also I showed you so some of the important files and folders, correct? So whenever we are going to create the database server, what are all the important files and folders so which are located in the data directory, right? So today I'm going to explain very clearly. So whenever we are going to create the database server, okay, so what are all the files and folders will come and exactly. So what is the use of files and folders and remaining things means object ID and remaining things I'm going to explain. Okay, so before going to go for the create database server, once again, I'm going to refresh you guys to explain the cluster layout or instance layout or database server layout. Okay. See here, guys, listen carefully now. Okay. See here. So whenever we are going to, so once we are going to create, so directory where the file system is free, in that file system, we are going to create one directory, right, guys? We are going to create one directory, correct? So in the once we are going to create that directory, so what is the next step we are going to do? We are going to initialize. We are going to initialize the database server, right? So this is the one, correct? Once we are going to create the directory, okay, we are going to initialize the database server. Initialize means what is nothing but initialize? Initialize is nothing but server build. We are going to build the server in the particular data directory. Okay. Once we are going to build the database server, what is the next thing? Can you please tell me, guys? What is the next thing once we are going to build the database server? So Vishnu, Vishwa,
Start
Ram
the debate
Prasad.
session.
Change the ownership of
Yeah,
app 01.
exactly. And before going, yeah, so after changing the ownership of the data directory, what is the next thing? Guys, what is the next thing? The
Uh,
main thing you
will
guys have.
connect with the user Postgres.
No. So we did not start the database server. Just we initialized. But before going to start the database server, so there is a one main thing is there. Just remember that thing.
Configuration, is that so?
Exactly in configuration, what we need to do.
The version part we have to edit, right?
No, not the version part. Just remember.
Uh,
Change the port.
Exactly.
Can we
port
change
number,
port
yes.
number? Yeah,
Exactly. So
53422
yeah, so the port number we need to edit in the configuration file because so whenever we are build the database server at the time, okay, it is going to use the default port number. So that's why before going to start the database server, so we need to change the port number. So which port is free, we need to use that port number. Okay. So once we done that port number, okay, what is the next step? So we need to start the database server, right? How to start the database server, guys? How to start the database server? Tell
init
me.
db.
From utility.
No, 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 no. Init DB is the server build. Okay, initDB is the server build or initialize the database server. So we need to start the database server. Okay, we need to after come again.
PG_CTL-D/.
Exactly. See here. So once the initialization or server build is happened, we need to start the database server like this. See here. So we need to start the database server like this. PG_CTL -D data directory start. Okay. So in this way, we need to start the database server. Right? Correct, right, guys? You guys are remember now at least? So what we did in the last class here. So we need to create a directory. After create the directory, so we need to build the server. Where we need to build the server? So which was created that directory, right? In that directory, so we need to build the server. Once we are going to build the server, we need to start the database server. So we need to start the database server using the utility called PG_CTL and the option called start. So this is the way we need to start the database server. Right? Okay. See here, guys. Yeah. So somebody is, yeah. Okay. So see here, once we start the database server, okay. Once we start the database server, see here. So this is the database server is up and running. Okay, so once the database server is up and running, now you guys tell me, okay, so see here guys, just I'm, okay, if I'm going to ask something to you guys, right? Okay, please don't mind because of, if I'm going to ask you guys, right, at least you guys have remembered something. So that's why I'm asking you guys, okay? Please don't mind. Yeah. So see here, so once the database server is up and running, okay, so what we need to check? So whether all the processes means the main postmaster process and remaining background processes are up and running or not, we need to check. How to check that one? So there is a command called Linux, right? ps-ef grep Postgres. At that time, it will going to list out the supervisor process and remaining background processes. Correct? So it will going to show the postmaster process and remaining background processes. Correct? And also see here guys, this is the database server, our database server. Okay. Once we are going to start the database server, we are able to connect. Okay. We are able to connect the user called Postgres, right? See here, we are able to connect the user called Postgres, right? So see here, so we are able to connect using the Postgres, and also there is a other option also, we can create multiple users, right? We can also create multiple DB users. Once we create the multiple DB users, we are able to access the database server through that user defined user, right? Guys, you guys are understanding, right? What I'm explaining. See here. So, once we are going to start the database server, we are able to access the database server using Postgres user, and as well as, so once we are going to logged into the Postgres user, we can create multiple DB users as well. Okay, once that created the multiple DB users, we are able to access the database server using those DB users. Okay, right? So, and also see here, once the database server is started, there are two table spaces will come. What are all those, guys? What are all those table spaces?
PG underscore default and PG underscore global.
Exactly. So there are two table spaces. Okay, by default, it will going to create it. Right? What is the location for PG default? The location for PG default is base directory. Right? And the location for PG underscore global is global directory. Right? So see here. So in the base directory means this is the default table space. Okay. In the default table space, what are all the databases will be there? There are three databases by default. What are all those? Postgres, template
Template
0,
0, template 1.
template 1. In PG underscore default database, so PG underscore default table space, there are three table spaces has been created. One is Postgres, template 0 and template 1. And also, whenever we are going to create user-defined database without specified any table space, right? At the time, that database will be going to create under PG underscore default table space. But what is the model database for each and every created new database? The model
Template
database
1.
is template 1. See here, guys. The model database is template 1. Right? Okay. And also, so in Postgres database and other user-defined database, okay, by default, public schema will be there. And as well as, so there is a hidden schema. In that hidden schema under all the system tables will be there. What is the hidden schema? PG underscore catalog. In that catalog schema, it contains all the system tables. And also one more thing, we can also create multiple user-defined schema. Okay, we can also create multiple user-defined schema. Got it? Okay, this is the complete instance layout or database server layout or cluster layout. Anybody have any doubts in this? Guys, anybody have any doubts? Kishore, Madan, Pradeep, Ram Prasad, Santosh, Satish, Srinivas, Vishnu Vishwa.
No, man.
Clear,
No,
clear,
Manoj.
Manoj.
Okay. So this is the complete, this is the complete basement for PostgreSQL. Okay. So whenever you guys are understood this one, this instance or cluster layout, right? Okay, we can easily move for other things. But this is the complete basement for PostgreSQL. Okay. Yeah. In architecture also, like that is also basement, but this is the complete, this is also one type of basement. Okay. Yeah. The next thing is, this is very, very important. Okay. Yeah. So data file and table space layout. What is this thing? What is the data file and table space layout? What it says, Okay, so we already discussed in the last class, but again in pictorial representation, I'm going to explain you guys. Okay, see here, guys. In PostgreSQL, by default, 8K page. Each page size is 8K. Okay, in PostgreSQL, the database page size is 8K. Okay, so we were and also we seen right in last class when we were created the table at the time. So once we were created the table, after that we inserted some rows at the time. So once we inserted that rows, the data file says it's allocated like 8K, right? At that time. Okay, means so whenever we are going to okay insert one or two rows at that time, okay, so it will going to allocate 8K. Once that 8K is the complete page is full, again one more 8K page is going to allocate. Okay, like that way it will going to happen. So see here, guys. So in this diagram, I'm going to explain how the data file and tablespace layout will be there in the PostgreSQL, right? So see here in the database server, there are two table spaces. One is base and another one is global table space. Okay. So in base direct means in PG underscore default table space, we have created one user defined databases. User defined database. So the database name called sales underscore DB. Once we were created the database, okay, in that database, the OID, the database server will going to allocate the OID for that database. Got it, guys? Once the database has been created, the database server, yeah,
OID,
yeah,
OID means object ID, right?
exactly, object ID.
Okay.
In each and every level in Postgres, object ID will going to allocate. Okay, so in database level also, whenever we are going to create the database, at that time also the object ID is going to allocate. Okay, so once created the sales DB database, we are going to create, see here, the table and the index. See here, guys, once we are going to create the table at that time also, so the OID is going to allocate for the table. And also, see here, so whenever we are going to create the table at the time, we are creating the index as well. For index also, the OID is going to allocate. These two OIDs, we are going to call it as data files. Okay, this is the data OID. This is the index OID. But we are going to call it as data files. Okay, we are going to call it as data files. Guys, do you have any confusion here? Please let me know. I'm going to explain one more time. If you have any doubts here or any confusion, please let me know. I'm going to explain one more time. Anybody have any doubts here?
Manoj, if I create another table, is it going to create another OID?
Exactly. It will going to create one more OID. Each and every object have its own OID. Each and every objects.
Okay, man.
Yeah. I hope all are understood, guys. This is very, very important, guys. So that's why I'm stressing you guys, okay? This is very, very important. Can I proceed the next thing, guys?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Manoj.
So let's go for practical. Still, why I'm not going to explain the architecture. So at first we need to understand some of the like basic things. So that's why still I'm not explaining the architecture. So architecture needs some like a knowledge on these things, basics things. So that's why I'm not explaining. So architecture probably I'm going to explain tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Okay, I think the font is okay, right? Yeah. Uh, Satish, it's okay, right? This font is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Manoj.
Yeah. Now you guys only tell me. So if I want to create the new database server, okay, what are all the things I need to do? So let's like anybody, can you please explain me? So that I'm going to do. how to create the database server. Now, new database server.
First of all, we need to create a folder, an empty space.
Yeah. I'm going to create cluster 2. Okay. So once we created the cluster 2, okay, what we need to do? Sorry. So we need to initialize the database server. See here, cluster 2. Okay. So initialize is nothing but purely building the database server. Okay.
Manoj, here I have one question. So,
Yes, yes, Pradeep.
before we start and create a directory, right? So we have to check the whether space available or not, right, on the file.
Yes, exactly. See here, so I'm in the root directory only. So that's why see here, still 39 GB is there. Yeah, okay. So that's why
So
I did
here,
not check. Yeah.
correct, okay. But here,
Yeah.
if there are suppose 3 to 4 directories were given, so how to go to that directory and create that? I mean the directory for that one. Suppose there are another SDA3 or another disk are there, right? Usually we'll be having 3 to 4 disk, right? So
Yeah. Yeah,
if we
so it's
want to
just
go
simple. So go to the particular file system and go there and create that folder. Okay. So example, so this file system is available mounted on root. Okay. If if some file system is mounted on /opt PostgreSQL, right? Go to that /opt PostgreSQL and create the directory, new directory under the particular path. That's all.
okay.
Okay. I hope you understood, right, Pradeep?
Yeah, got it, Manoj. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now see here. So I built the database server, right? So now what I need to do? So, so I'm going to change the port number because it will going to take the 5432. See here, example. Now, if I'm going to start the database server, what it will going to happen? If I'm going to start the
Default port
database
is
server, what it will going to happen? See here, it is not giving the proper error here. So what we need to do? How to check the proper error? How to check the proper error? So where we need to check the proper error? Guys, where we need to check the error?
in the logs.
Exactly. See here.
Error log file.
So there is the error log file in the log directory. Okay. Here, just do the tile. See here, guys. Why it is not started? Because of is another postmaster already running on port 5432. Okay.
So need to
So
change
that
the port number, right?
yes, we need to change the port number. So that's why it is not started. Means first thing is when something is not, so went fine, okay, or something is so if server is not going to start it means anything is happen. The first thing is we need to check the log. Okay, what is the particular error message is giving? We need to check the proper error message. Based on that, we need to fix. Okay, so as of now, what is the error? The error is the 5432 is already used by another database server. So that's why the database server is not started. So now what I'm going to do, I will change the port number 3331. Now I'm going to start the database server. So there is an option called start. See here, guys, the server has been started successfully. How to connect? PS-EF 3331 hyphen sorry 3331 hyphen U Postgres. So how to check we are in which database server? How to check which command we need to use? We are in which data directory? How to check? Which command we need to use? Show data underscore directory. See here, guys. So this is the way we need to check the data directory. Okay. So see here and also slash db plus. So this is the here. This is the two default table spaces, right? And L means it will going to list out all the databases. So, it will going to list out currently only the default databases is there. Okay. So how to check the OID for those default databases? How to check, guys? So select OID, comma, database name from PG underscore database. See here, guys. So this is the way we need to check the, so, like a OID for the particular databases. So if I'm going to create the new user defined database like MDB, here, this database where exactly it will going to create. If I am not specify the proper table space where it will going to create, it will going to create PG underscore default. How to check the OID? So this is the way. Select OID comma database name from PG underscore database. See here, guys, 16384. If you're going with base, right? See here, this 16384 is created. Okay, 16384 is created. Now, if I'm going to connect MDB database and if I'm going to create two tables, M1, so name, ID integer, comma, name varchar. Okay, so I created two tables. Okay, where these two tables are located? On which database? MDB database, correct? Oh,
Yes.
sorry, I forgot to take the OID for those. How to take the OID for these two objects? Select OID, okay, from PG underscore class, comma, relation name from PG underscore class, where relation name is equal to, what is the relation name? M1, right? See here, the M1 OID is 16385 and the M2 is 16388. If you are going with PWD, this is the base, right? Go with the 14486. This is the OID for MDB database, correct? So now I will check here 16385. And I have 16385. So this is the one. What is the OID for? Oh, sorry, 16384. The OID for MDB database 16384. If you are going to check the particular OID, see here, guys, this is the M1 OID and this is the M2 OID. Why still it's showing 0? See here, guys, why the size is showing 0? Because we have not inserted any records, right? Correct. So now I'm going to insert. So M1 values generate. I will insert some 100 records. Generate series 1, 100. Here I will give the Manoj name. See here, guys, I inserted 100 records in M2 table as well. I'm going to insert 100 records. Now you can check the data file. See here, 8 KB. See here, guys. So the 8K page is allocated for this table. So that's why still 8K is not filled. Once it is going to fill, again it will going to allocate one more 8K. At that time, the size it will going to 16K, right? See here. This is how exactly so the data file will going to create and how the OID it will going to allocate. Now you guys are got it, right? Anybody have any doubts, guys?
Can you tail that 14 like 16385 here? So if you tail, you can see the records here.
No. So this is
Only in
completely
the
a
DB
binary. Yeah, this
binary.
is completely a binary data file. We can't see the like see the data in the particular data file. We can't.
Okay, it should be in the database itself. You have to connect
Exactly.
DB and then okay,
Yes,
and select
yes,
the start from. Select start from.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. Anybody have any doubts here? I think all are understood, right? Can I proceed for next thing?
Yes, Manoj.
Manoj, I have a query. See, I
Yes, yes,
mean,
please.
for databases, we are getting object, I mean, on unique ID, and for objects, I mean, for tables also, we are getting unique ID. Then what is the difference?
I did not get. Come again.
See, for example, for the databases, we are getting unique ID. In that also, we are listing from that database, we are listing out that. Okay, sorry, I got it. I got it. Fine, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So because I got it. Your question, I got it because each and every uh objects means every items here. Okay, the PostgreSQL database server is going to allocate the object ID because of identification purpose.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Got it.
yeah. Yeah, so I think this one is clear, right, guys? Okay, so the next thing is, yeah, when I comes to so files and folders, right? So you guys are got it, PostgreSQL.conf. What is the PostgreSQL.conf? You guys are, I think I hope you guys are understood. It have all the configuration
All configuration
parameters.
parameters.
Exactly.
You have
And
that
also,
memory as well in that.
yes,
Can you
yes,
open and
yeah.
show me memory? Can
Yes.
you
I'm
can
going
just
to show you.
miss it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. See here. So whenever we are going to start the database server, at the time, there is a memory called shared buffers. Okay. See here. By default, the memory size for the database server is 128 MB. See here. 128 MB. So this is the one. And also, there is one more memory called wall buffers. These are all the things I'm going to explain in architecture. But so for your information, see here, wall buffers. This is the another type of memory. What is the difference between shared buffer and wall buffers? I'm going to explain later, tomorrow maybe, or day after tomorrow. But this two memory is very important when we are going to configure the database server. Okay, the first thing is Shared buffer. This one. Okay, this is the very important.
So the
Yeah.
Linux is holding, for example, Linux having 8 GB RAM, okay,
Uh,
and in the
yeah.
shared buffer you are allocating 128 out of 8 GB for
Uh-huh.
PostgreSQL DB.
Yeah. Come again. Sorry. Come
So
again.
yeah, Linux is having 8 GB RAM, okay.
Exactly.
So from that we have to allocate the for Postgres we have to allocate some memory. So you are telling only 120 MB is allocated to the PostgreSQL server.
Yeah.
Oh,
l-
you are
Yeah.
sharing, right? You are
Exactly. Exactly. See here. So what exactly it will going to happen, If example, in Linux system, we have uh, 8 GB memory. Okay. So whenever we are going to, like initial means creating a new database server at the time. So the PostgreSQL server, okay, it will going to consume the complete memory is 128 MB. Okay. So it will going to
yeah,
consume, yeah, it will going to
that is
consume
what I am asking.
120. Yes, yes,
So
correct.
that much small memory is sufficient for PostgreSQL?
See, no, 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 no. See here, this is completely a deep. So we are going to create the basics things, okay? So this is not
Okay.
a recommended one. Based on our organizational requirement, okay, so we need to extend the memory. Example, see here. So some application teams guys will come like their database size is around 100 GB of the. So they needs to store the data for 100 GB in the PostgreSQL database server. If the 100 GB data means okay, so 30 percentage of the memory we need to allocate for the Postgres database server. Okay, 100 GB means sorry 30 not 30%, 3%. So 3% of the memory we need to allocate means 100 GB means 3 GB of the RAM we need to allocate for specified database server. Okay. If the 100 GB of the data we are maintaining means we need to allocate the memory for 3 GB means 3% of the data size. Got it, guys?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so yeah, definitely this thing I explaining in architecture as well. So when I'm going to explain the architecture, but yeah, exactly, this is good thing. Okay, so this is completely a basic thing. When we are going to start the database server at that time, 128 MB it is going to allocate. But the recommended is based on the database size, we need to configure the shared buffers. Okay, yeah. See here. So this is the it contains all the configuration parameters. So this is contains log file and this contains pg underscore default table space and this is the location for pg underscore pg underscore global table space. Okay, and what is the postgresql.conf? You guys are remember this one postgresql.conf when it will going to use anybody? What is the difference between PostgreSQL.conf and PostgreSQL.auto.conf?
Any changes made, it will goes into auto config.
Yeah. Within the database server, if any changes we are going to made in the data within the database server, right? At the time, so those parameters values will going to reflected into PostgreSQL.auto.conf. Okay. So what is the PG underscore HPA.conf? Okay. So what is that? HPA means host. Yeah.
Question.
Yes, 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 please.
Okay, so PostgreSQL.conf is there and auto.conf is there. Okay, So if we are changing any configuration parameter in postgresql.conf, so that is that the entry is reflecting in auto.conf. That is what
No,
you are
no,
telling.
no, 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 no. See
Can you
here,
explain?
if I am going to change the configuration parameter in the postgresql.conf, okay, that value will going to, reflected only in postgresql.conf only. Okay. So
Okay.
when it will going to reflected in postgresql.auto.conf, whenever, see here, if I am going to alter the configuration parameter within the database server, like alter. Whenever I'm going to use alter the particular configuration parameter, at that time, the value will going to reflected in postgresql.auto.conf. Okay. Whenever I am going to use alter, those things will going to reflected in auto.conf, not in .conf. Got it, guys? Got it? I think I hope you understood, right? So, sorry, like I don't know like who is asking the question, so that's why. Okay.
Yes, Srinivas here.
Yeah, Srinivas. Yeah. So Srinivas here. Whenever I'm going to use alter, right? So at that time it will going to reflect. Otherwise, whenever I want to change the configuration parameter in the PostgreSQL.conf file, right? So at the time it will not going to reflect. See here now. I will show you. Example, alter system, sorry, set shade underscore buffers is equal to, so by default 128 MB, right? I will specify 256 MB. Okay. See here. So alter system set shade buffers is happened. Okay. If you are going to check the configuration parameter, right? See here still 128 MB. Why it's still 128 MB? Anybody have any idea? Why it is
It's
not reflected?
you have to restart the
Exactly.
DB, then it will reflect. It's a
Exactly.
static parameter, right?
Exactly.
It's
How
not
to check
dynamic.
that one? Yeah, how to check that one. So there is a, there is a one system table is there. What is that? Select star from PG underscore settings, where uh, so yeah, select star from where name is equal to shared underscore buffers. See here, if the parameter contains postmaster, right? Postmaster, if you guys are seeing, right? Postmaster. So if the parameter contains the postmaster value, means that parameter requires restart. Okay. So that parameter requires restart. So this is the way we need to identify. So how to check all the things in one shot? What are all the parameters requires restart? One thing is there where context is equal to postmaster. See here, it will going to provide all the parameters. So these are all the parameters requires restart. Okay, so this is the way we need to identify.
If postmaster is not there, then means the changes will take effect immediately, right?
Exactly. So immediately it will going to affect, but what we need to do, we need to do the reload. Okay, reload. Restart is not necessary. Reload, so we need to do. Okay, so there is an option called reload. So that will not going to, affect the database server. Just it will going to signal up. Signal up means, so the value will going to immediately reflect. Okay. So I will tell you. So when we need to use the reload, I'm going to tell you. Okay. So now, so still shared buffer size is shared buffers. See here 128 MB. What I'm going to do, how to restart? pg underscore ctl hyphen app01 cluster to restart. Okay. See here. Now you can go and check. See here 256 MB reflected. Okay. 256 MB is reflected. Now, where this parameter is reflected, parameter and parameter value is reflected, latest one. Now you can go and check in the PostgreSQL dot auto.conf. See here, guys. See here. Srinivas shared buffer is reflected in auto.conf. But if you go and check in the PostgreSQL.conf, right? The value still is 128 MB. It is not going to reflect in this file. Whenever we are going to use alter, those parameter values is going to reflect in the auto.conf. Got it?
So
Now,
when it will
yeah.
reflect was generally the DBA will look after the configuration file only, na? Configure PostgreSQL.conf, not the auto. So auto is we are just looking in the auto that what are the parameters we altered. So when this PostgreSQL.conf will be updated with the memory, the existing memory.
No. So see here, yeah, got it. See here, whenever we are going to, we can't, like at that time, what we need to do, so there is two options. One thing is, if somebody is going to change the parameter within the database server, okay, so if the parameter value will be there in the auto.conf, okay, so at that time, so what we need to do in the weekend, we need to change the configuration parameter value in the original file, PostgreSQL.conf file. Okay, so normally, like the main thing is we are not going to change the memory things in the within the database server level. We are going to configure, we are going to maintaining in the PostgreSQL.conf file only. But the thing is, when it will going to reflect using the alter, at that time only it will going to reflect. I think you got it, Srinivas, or still not it?
Yeah, still some tricky is there here. Okay, but yeah, I can proceed. We'll discuss later. I don't want to hold it a long period.
No, it's okay. So again, yeah. So what exactly in your mind? What is the question? Now, can you please tell me once again?
It's pretty much simple, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
whenever the DBA, so he will look after only the configuration file. What is the current configuration? He will not look into the auto file, right?
Uh-huh.
So auto is a for our reference when the altered has happened. So what is the altered value? It is showing in the auto conf.
Mhm. Yes. See here. First of all, DBA before going to the configuration file. I got your question. Now I will clarify your question. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So before going to, the DBA, before going to change the configuration parameter or going to reference the PostgreSQL.conf file, what DBA needs to do, first he will going to check this configuration parameter value, where exactly it will going to read from. Whether it is going to read from PostgreSQL.conf file or PostgreSQL.auto.conf file. So DBA needs to check that parameter where exactly it reads from. We need to check first that one. Okay, examples here. Now, So I'm going to check select start from pg underscore settings, where name is equal to shared underscore buffers. See here, this parameter is reading from this file. Okay, so based on the particular value, we need to go and edit the options. See here, this parameter is reading from this file, postgresql.auto.conf file. Got it, Srinivas?
Yeah, got it. Nice.
Yeah. So, but before going to, change the configuration parameter value, so we need to check like this way. So then only we need to, change the configuration parameter. Okay. So the next thing is, yeah. So pg underscore hpa dot conf. What is this pg underscore hpa dot conf? Okay. So this is the file called host-based access control. If someone is going to log into the database server, right, in any other machine, okay, at the time, what we need to do, we need to add those user information IP address, okay, and so whether that user needs which database access, we need to specify those information in pg underscore hpa dot conf file. Okay, if somebody user one needs to access the database server, this cluster 2 database server and MDB database, right? At that time, so we need to specify those information in pg underscore hpa dot conf file. Okay, if user is going to access, means that user 1 and user 2 is accessing the database server from other machine, right? At that time, we need to specify the particular host IP address and database, which database he needs to access, and also whether which user, and also IP address here we need to specify, and this is the authentication method. Okay, whether so
It's
is a
it's
trust,
it's
yeah.
like a interfaces entry, yeah.
Yep. Not a interface entry. So this is not a interface entry. So interface entry, like you were talking about Sybase.
Yeah, its interfaces is pretty much all the IP address we need to update to connect the DB and start the DB. So it will get the information from the IP, the
Yeah,
interface.
TCP. Yeah, yes. It's
It's
almost
pretty much
related to,
similar,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
similar. Exactly. Yeah. So it's almost similar to interface. Exactly. Yeah. But so here we need to specify the particular, so username, database name, IP address we need to maintain in this file. Exactly true. Yeah. Okay. pg underscore hpa dot conf. HPA means host based access control. Okay. So I'm going to explain more detailed this configuration file in, like whenever I'm going to explain security part, right? At that time, I'm going to explain more detail. Okay. So one more thing is very important folder. This is pg underscore wall. See here, guys, this is very important. What is pg underscore wall is nothing but, wall. Write ahead log. All the transactions files. Okay, all the transaction file will be there in this folder. Each and every transaction file size is 16 MB. Once this 16 MB file is full, right, it will going to create one more 16 MB file. Okay, if that one more 16 MB is going to full, right, the transaction is full, it will going to create one more 16 MB file. Okay, so this is the transaction file. See here, this transaction file will located on pg underscore wall. Got it, guys? The transaction file will be there on pg underscore wall directory. I think I hope you guys are understood, right?
Yeah, can you repeat again? What is the use of this PGO underscore what? It's a
Yeah.
transaction you told. So,
Yeah, this is the transaction file. Okay. So what is the use of, we can use this transaction file for archive logs as well. Why the transaction file is most essential in every RDBMS, whenever something is happened or something is crashed, we can easily recover the things using the transaction logs, right? And also, we can also set the archive logs in database in Postgres as well. Okay, we can also, copy the transaction logs into the archive directory as well. When something is happened in the main database server, we can easily recover the things from the archive.
is it up to mark recovery?
Yes, this is the up to mark recovery. Up to the minute recovery, we are going to call in other RDBMS, right? Exactly. This is the completely we can recover, do the point in time recovery as well. Got it, guys? Anybody have any doubts here?
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody have any doubts? I think all are clear, right?
Yeah, good, Manish.
Okay. Yes. So another thing is PG underscore stat. So here guys, so what this will going to hold this folder, all the statistics information, database statistics, object statistics, all the statistics information it will going to hold in this directory. Okay. So I'm going to explain this directory later, but as of now, there is no statistics here. Okay. So I'm going to explain very detailed things when we are going to work on that DB maintenance, right? At the time, so I'm going to explain very clearly. Okay, and also the one more folder called pg underscore logical. See here, so this is also, this is also completely a, whenever we are going to set up logical replication, right? At the time, all the entries will be there in this pg underscore logical. See here, as of now, there is no entry here. See here, there is no entry here. Okay, whenever we are going to set up logical replication, at that time I'm going to show you how exactly the entry will be there. Okay, as of now, there is no entry. This is completely purely this folder will going to use the logical replication. Logical replication means table level replication. I will do in the replication part. I'm going to show you how exactly it will going to use. Okay. So here, okay, the next thing is this is also replication slot. Oh, where am? Okay, CD. Okay. Okay, this is also purely. So one more replication type is there. So that is called PG, like a replication slot. So whenever I'm going to set up, whenever we are going to set up, okay, standby with replication slot, right? At the time, this folder will going to, all the entry, the replication slot entry will be there on this folder. Okay, at that time, I'm going to explain very detailedly. Okay, so these are all the important folders and files. Okay, so the remaining folders and files I'm going to explain based on the scenarios. Okay, so once the scenarios will come, so that I'm going to explain. If I'm going to explain now, right? So definitely, like we can't remember the things. Okay, at least you guys are at least some knowledge you got it right now. So whenever we are going to create the database server, how exactly, like where and all the information will be there. At least some knowledge you guys are got it right, guys.
Yeah, yes, Manoj.
Yes, Manoj.
Yeah. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do tomorrow is a very important thing. Okay. So what I'm going to explain, I'm going to explain. I told you right, guys, MVCC. It's, like whenever in other RDBMS, we are going to use concurrency control, correct? But in PostgreSQL, so there is called MVCC, multi-version concurrency control. Okay, in Oracle in PostgreSQL, so the concurrency control mechanism is MVCC. How exactly it will going to work? Tomorrow I'm going to explain. What is MVCC? How exactly it will going to work? Tomorrow I'm going to explain. And okay, so if time is there tomorrow, we'll start for the architecture. Otherwise, we'll go for day after tomorrow. I think today it's enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough, Manoj.
Okay, so let's tomorrow we'll discuss on MVCC demo. So let's go for other things. Okay, tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm going to send the record session. So please go ahead and like try to do some practical things. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye guys. Let's see you
Bye.
tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Manoj.
Yeah. Bye.